Hello everybody, and welcome back to Simulation Section. It's me and more central, that plucky northerner that forgot to shut the door while they were filming a video. There we go, the door's shut, otherwise it echoes all around the building and yeah, then we've got problems. So, you join me in the year 2016. We have 150,275 and we're about to open the doors. So we are doing the 1F01 1615 Huddersfield to Southport service based in the year 2016. We will be serving, oh it's all gone and everything's gone wrong, we will be serving Slough, Marsden, Greenfield, Mosley, Stalybridge, Ashton-under-Lyne and Manchester Victoria with an arrival time of 17:05. We can go at a maximum speed of 75 miles an hour, and the end destination that another crew will be taking it on from Manchester Victoria is Southport. So we need to blind it up based off it going to Southport. So what we will do is we will get a few bits set up. Excellent. Get that off. We will pop our destination indicator light off. Get rid of them. Put our marker lights on and put our headlights to daytime. So with all that set up and done, what we also need to do now is select our destination blind. And we've got just a couple of minutes till we leave. So there's Huddersfield, we are already there. We're here somewhere. Not some other random places I would love to take a 152. But there we go, this is Southport, or the train is going to Southport, we're going to Manchester. So, this is a scenario I acquired not so long ago for the Leeds to Manchester via Huddersfield line, the Transpennine route, which you can purchase off Steam. There is a few different variations to this. We'll have a little bit of a chat about some of the stuff I am planning to film and some of the stuff I am possibly looking into purchasing as we go on through this video. But this is a nice basic scenario based sort of around 2016 when the sort of debranding of the previous Northern names were taking place. So Northern had changed hands once again, as it did a fair few times, and things had started to be debranded. So you can see here we've got a debranded 150 that we've got. There's a debranded 153 in the siding. That I'm hoping they're having some sort of conference on board, otherwise someone's in a lot of trouble. And then if we look towards the rear, our rear set is 150,220. So this is the Armstrong Powerhouse Class 150. So there is one that you can buy off Steam, but there is also the far superior, in my opinion, Armstrong Powerhouse variation that provides a lot more features that you do expect from DLC purchases nowadays. So I absolutely love the Armstrong Powerhouse stuff. It just provides like a much nicer interior. You've got clearer destination displays with a lot more destinations, much better detail, lots more liveries, and as you can see with this cab, it's just a lot nicer. There's no blurriness, there's a lot of detail. It's just incredibly pleasant. Please do be aware that I don't have everything that you require for this scenario, all the AI traffic. So I don't have all of that. So as a heads up, if you do download this scenario yourself, you may find that there's extra AI vehicles and stuff like that running. So just bear that in mind as we go through the video, because obviously, as we have discussed in previous videos, if you try and install every single bit of DLC that you can for most of these scenarios in Train Sim, you will end up greatly in debt. So I have had to choose not to do that, not through choice, but through liking the idea of money and living and not spending it all on a simulator game. Which, although it is tempting at times, you have to hold yourself back sometimes and think, hang on a second, that might not be the wisest idea in the world. Let's get a nice screenshot, because the lighting's perfect, which hopefully signifies some nice lighting throughout, which will be good. So let's get a nice screenshot there. Tunnel, and we are instant speeding. It's absolutely amazing. We'll just take that. Okay, we'll just take it. And there we go. The pacer unit that is sat with the correct number 144001, which is sat at the end of the Penistone Line platform. So, this is exciting. We turned out all the lights. So this should be a nice contrast to what we've already done on this line not so long ago. So we have had a look previously at this line in various areas, in various directions. I was debating this or doing a 150/1 and 156 coupling scenario. I did debate that, but I thought better not. Because although it was incredibly tempting, I thought it'd be nice to go with 150/2. Because I have already been on a flat front 150. I've been on one today. I went on 150/005 on the Sheffield to Leeds by Morthorpe line. One of these newly made free car sets. So they've started merging the 150s. So they've sort of got a 2-car 150 and then splitting a second set, and then sort of putting an extra carriage on each. So they're now 3-car sets. We so far in Yorkshire have 8 of these. We've got 150/001 to 8. I understand that they are building more of them, or they're intending to build more of them, but at the moment we have 8 sets, which are pretty nice. They are nice for the capacity. You can spread out a little bit more. They are a little bit more suitable for the services that run nowadays, and obviously having all these extra units and bits lying about, it makes sense to add a few more carriages, especially at rush hour, because it makes it a little bit more appealing to travel by train. Something else I have noticed with this being an Armstrong Powerhouse product is the little details such as grime. As you can see around there, the incredibly realistic mucky window, where you can see the grime around where the wiper has been able to widen it. It is also worth just reminding that we do have a 4-car set today, that if our previous adventures on this line have anything to go by, is going to be interesting. It is going to be very interesting. So, cross fingers to do alright, but we shall see how it goes. So I remember this era of the debranding period that was around for about a good year or two before stuff properly started getting painted and sort of rebranded and bits like that. And it was around for quite a while. I mean, nowadays you go around and you see everything's painted in this new Northern livery, but it took absolutely years after debranding everything to get the branding set up again, to get the repaint program going. So we did have, I'm sure it was at least a year or two, at least a couple of years, where we just had trains running around like this with just no branding at all. And then it was over, sort of just before COVID, we got the likes of the 195s. I cannot believe how long we've had the 195s. That is incredibly scary. About 7 years now we've had them. That's really scary. And then just to think of about 7 or 8 years ago, the refurbishment program began on the 158s. Gosh, that is very scary. Very, very scary. There's been a lot of very scary things recently. Very, very scary things. I mean, I was on about something earlier today and I ended up sort of thinking, well, how long ago was that? And then I remembered that I was like, oh my gosh, that was 13 years ago. And that's really scary. That's really, really scary. I'm not a fan of it, to be honest. I'm not a fan. Not a fan of things that scare me like that. So going up, as you can see, looking at the incline on our little hood, you can see just how much of an incline it is, sort of climbing out of Huddersfield. Very intense for a consistent bit of railway, and it does mean that we have to adapt accordingly. We do have a relatively tight timetable today, so we are going to be going on the slightly faster side of things. We do also have to be conscious that we've got to perfectly hit the platforms as well. So, because these platforms, are not necessarily friendly to the likes of 4-car sets. So there's going to be a lot of me having to be really brave about how where we stop. There we go, and let's make sure all the doors are opening. Excellent stuff. That's always a good sign to start with. At our first station stop of Slough, which we are due to leave Slough at 16:22. So we're due in and out at 22. We're actually a little bit in front, which gives us a little bit of time here, and a very good start. So the next stop is a timetabled one at 16:26 to 7. The one after at Mosley is also a timetabled one. Stalybridge is a timetabled one. Ashland on the Line is a timetabled one. And Manchester Victoria is, which means we're going to have a lot of pressure. That scared me then on the HUD because obviously it was building up the power and I did thing into the F3. It made it look like the train was about to go backwards and I was like, I really don't want that. We really don't want that. That would not be a good start to proceedings really if we can help it. So it's nice to be in the 150. I do feel like the likes of the 150/1 and this one, the sort of the /2, never really drive them. I never really do, and it is a shame that I just don't get a chance to do it. But I do feel like I just never get a chance to drive them. So it is really nice to sort of jump in scenarios like this, proper Northern Rail scenarios, and have a crack. I am looking into all the ins and outs that I would need in order to install some of the other northern routes. So one route I have been wanting to drive on for quite a while now is the Harrogate line and the associated Leeds to York via Garforth section because it was all built into one big thing. I have been really wanting to drive that for quite a while. I really have. I've just never had the chance to install absolutely everything that it needs because I remember looking at it when I was younger, looking at the list and going, oh my goodness me, that is a lot of DLCs. And again, this is the issue with Train Sim is it's not even like you need the same 4 or 5 DLCs for like most of the add-ons and most of the signalling and track layouts and other bits and bobs that they use. But the issue is you sort of need 4 or 5 for one, then you need 4 or 5 for the other. And they're not like locally related ones, they're just totally random ones. So it's like, I think I was looking at one not so long ago on one of the early today, Alan Thompson's same, and it like needed the Brighton main line and it was a northern route, and I'm like, how does the Brighton main line relate to this? I just didn't understand it. And it is really annoying because obviously we're not like, you go on this to enjoy it and to sort of have fun, not to spend all your life savings. And that's the thing that I think bugs me with this a little bit is you are sort of expected to spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds, and when you're like me and you not necessarily got hundreds and hundreds of pounds to spend on this game and you kind of just want to drive it and enjoy it and just vibe with it and just have like just an easy life driving a couple of different lines. Like I don't even want to drive that many, I just want to drive like the northern routes and I'll be happy. But in order to sort of achieve that, you have to purchase so much unnecessary stuff that you're never going to drive. I'm going to be honest, we're not doing well with these 15 markers today. I think we'll make this one, but yeah, we'll make it. There we go. different, pulling into this platform. How exciting! I did, to be fair, wonder why we were having to slow us down as we did. But it does make sense now. Oh, let me see if I can, because I think there's a good screenshot to be had here. Just gotta. There we go. I think that looks nice. And if I didn't have to immediately stop at a station afterwards, I would probably stick about to watch the train go past. But responsibilities. There we go. So here we are at the not so commonly served Marsden platform 3. In the other scenarios we've done, we've served 1 and 2, because as you can see, 1's very much the eastbound platform, 2's the main line westbound, but we've not served 3. What is also weird is having been on the train in real life today, not on this line but on the Norfolk line, and seeing all of the station signage with the Metro logo on it, it is a little bit trippy seeing it again. I'm going to be honest, in the virtual world. And I was going to straight away drive on sort of another London route, but I thought, nah, I wanted to have a go with this and just do something a bit more northern. And there's a 156 which is heading to Huddersfield, 156468. I want to say I've been on that. I don't know if that's worrying or what, but I do want to say I've been on that. Oh, pressed the wrong button. There we go. So we arrived in at roughly 26. I think it was pretty much spot on 26. Was it? Yes, it was. Excellent stuff. We do need to get that down a little bit. Our boot down a little bit, we should do alright. I know I'm getting a lot of screenshots, but the scenery is nice and the sun's nice, so I don't know why I'm apologising. I'm making no apologies for all the screenshots that I am taking, because they look cool and we like taking screenshots. There we go. This is a nice bit of unusual track, is this? Not one you see that much used generally, to be fair. So this is quite nice. Oh, so there was a 15 there that it didn't give us any warning about. Excellent. That's exciting. I mean, I can understand the 15 being on the crossover there, but I'd also have appreciated some warning, so that I could have possibly mitigated it. Go through the big tunnel, and then when we emerge we are on the other side of the Pennines pretty much. I just love this idea that this line just goes right underneath it. It's just such a cool concept. Just, yeah, we can't go over it, we can't go under it, so we're just going to go straight through it. And just a very northern approach of, bosh, we're digging an hole straight through straight through mountain. Like, that's just, it's such a cool concept, such a cool idea. So we've got Greenfield that we are due to leave 16:36. We're currently due there at 34, so that'll give us a little bit of time for Mosley, to which we are due there at 16:39. And then Staley Bridge, Staley Vegas, as we refer to it as. Ashton under Line, another station I've worked at actually, and Manchester Victoria. So I've been having a look recently at what other bits I can do. I've downloaded a few new scenarios and bits for some of the London related routes that we've been looking at recently. So we've got them to hopefully look forward to and enjoy in the very near future. So hopefully you'll enjoy them. So they're coming up. I'm also looking into some of the other bits I can do with the northern routes I've got. So there's quite a few scenarios on the route that was sort of the merger between the Liverpool-Manchester and Manchester-Leeds, including the Chat Moss line that I am debating getting. I'm going to be entirely honest. I'm very much debating that. So I've been looking into a fair bit at the moment, still deciding. If you've got any suggestions which you'd like to see, please do let me know. I think we've still got a lot of scenarios worth of stuff to look at already at the moment, and quite a few routes I still properly want to explore before we start expanding anymore. But it is always good to sort of have the considerations, because if we have the considerations for some of the other bits, then it means obviously when the time comes we can have a look at it, which is always good. It's fine. I've come in at 60. It's fine. It's fine. It was close, but we came in at 60. It's all good. So back into the light now, which is nice after Stanley's tunnel. Although what I do remember on this section is the bends are particularly tight, especially when you're going a couple mile an hour over the speed limit, because clearly that isn't something that's bothering me today for some reason. Don't quite know why, but for some bizarre reason, that's just not a concern of mine, clearly. This is the bit that, to be fair, in all the other scenarios we've done, I do ease off slightly, just because, yes, it is a 65, but these turns are incredibly tight. And you can just feel it wobbling about. Like when you're in a 142, it's okay, because you expect that to wobble like a smidge. However, in one of these, you do not expect that much wobble. So it is actually quite concerning when it starts wobbling. There we go. And then that's what the only thing I hate is in order to get the screenshots, you've got to pause, like you can't take F3 off when you pause, when you sort of on pause break. That's really annoying. So you have to unpause it to get rid of it, which is very annoying, because then it means you lose the angle that you're going for. And it's still okay, but it's not as good as it was. Lots of concentration goes into this to ensure that we stop on the platform, because if we stop on the platform, I feel that's like half the battle. Stopping is very much the main thing that we are working on at present. Stopping on the platform is also preferred. And have we stopped? Yes, we have. Excellent stuff. So here we are at Greenfield. I was very much hoping to sort of stop near a sign, but that hasn't happened. If we have a zoom out, as you can see, the signage has changed. We are now in GMPTE territory. Scary. Scary stuff. Now, quite a lot of people dislike these 150s. Quite a lot of people do, and I mean, I put videos on the Ammo Bus Videos channel of these quite a lot because we have a lot of them in Yorkshire, in South Yorkshire especially. We have a ton of these proper 150s, and they do all sorts, absolutely all sorts of stuff. I've had them on stoppers, express runs, long distance runs, absolutely everything. I've had these 150s on. So I really like them, but I know there's quite a lot of people that don't. Quite a lot of people that genuinely really dislike them. I don't quite know why. I don't quite know why, but I like them because they're a little bit old, feel a little bit vintage. The seats are always comfy. Yeah, they're 3+2 as in most of them, but they're always like comfy. Like there's like a bit of a spring in them, a bit of comfort, a lot more comfort than the ironing board seats. They sound loud and exciting. Yes, they do make a load of noise, but as sort of like a transport enthusiast, that doesn't bother me. So I like them, and I have my favourite seat on them. My favourite seat is the seat near the sort of rear door in the front carriage. So that's like my favourite seat. And like the sort of like the ones that face towards like the family area seats. And I like sitting there for two reasons. One, because I have an absolute ton of space to myself, and I can spread out comfortably at the height of about 6'3", and I'm not squished. And it's also the best position to hear the engine sounds. So I absolutely love it, and I can very much find a lot of entertainment, even without listening to music, sitting above the engine and just enjoying the tones. I do genuinely really like it, and I really do like them. Don't get me wrong, today we had a 150 going up and a 158 coming back, and I cannot remember the last time I went on a 158, so it was really nice to actually sit on the 158, 158.861, it was. And don't get me wrong, I really did enjoy that, but my preference and my heart definitely lies with 150s. I just find them a lot more entertaining, a lot more exciting, and what have we cannot miss Mosley for a second time. I know it's like on a downhill gradient, but we must stop here. We're not having a repeat of that previous time where we very much just sacked off Mosley and just went, nah, we're not serving it. We're not serving it. We're catching up some time. So we can't really sack it off. And this way, by stopping here, and the previous two videos we've done on this section, we have stopped here. Hopefully, the people of Mosley forgive me for that one singular incident where we were unable to serve it, because I had ever so slightly misjudged my speed. Ever so slightly is an understatement. I'd heavily misjudged my speed. And then was like, oh, this isn't ideal. Although the positive is we have come in bang on time. Literally bang on time. And then the next stop, Stalybridge, then Ashton-under-Lyne, and then into Manchester Victoria, platform number 3. Because we can't go into any of the turnaround platforms, because this train is heading onwards to Southport. I've just found the engine stop button on the dash, and because it is a big red button, that is concerningly tempting. But for the sake of us actually doing a good job today, and not running late and not having problems, and um, hopefully having a relatively successful run on this scenario, I'm not pressing that button. That's dangerous. So there we go. So next stop is Staley Bridge, which we are due there at 45. That doesn't help because we got into this station at Mosley bang on time at 39, and for some reason it held us there for ages. So we've now got the joys of having to sort of catch it up. I mean, the ETA has just gone down by like a minute, but it still doesn't help that we're obviously having to catch up time that we shouldn't have necessarily had to catch up, which is a little bit annoying. I'm going to be entirely honest. And what's also funny is Manchester Victoria isn't a timetable location. So if we do end up late there, that's fine. As long as we stop, that's fine. Keep doing this where I just keep going into autopilot and end up a couple of miles an hour over. Because it's all downhill now. We weren't doing this on the uphill section. Just the downhill sections we seem to be having this problem. I know we've got a speed change coming up and we've got double yellow. I am aware. I am aware of all the problems that we are currently facing. There we go, that'll get us into the platform, that's fine. Lots of concentration. Again, this is what I love about this game is, and just trains generally, because we all love trains, is the fact that 1 minute everything's going really well and you're not bothered, and next minute you have to like proper go into concentration mode. And be like, oh my gosh, there's speed limits coming up, and there's signal changes and possible like crossovers and bits like that, and it's like and there's just a whole lot to process. And we didn't lose any time for that, which I was very happy about. Oh, there goes 142 and 150 combo. That's exciting. That is very exciting. 150/1 and a 142 combo. Our combination looks boring in contrast. Mad ferret, okay. Again, I have said it before and I will say it again. The only thing that I am a bit disappointed at with this um, route is the lack of detail on the further field scenery. Like when you're driving Max Tracks Airedale and Wharfdale line, like this is a whole big car park, formal car park area. This is like a really major road, and it just feels like it hasn't been taken that seriously. Which is the only thing that I think is my main gripe, having been to these places in real life and wanting to get that realistic experience. When you're driving the Airedale and Wharfdale line, that does feel realistic. That is how it is in real life. When you're driving this, if you look like a couple of seconds away from the track, it just the whole concept of it being the real life Stale of Vegas just like dies off, and it is really annoying because it's like all it had taken is probably just 10 minutes, 20 minutes to just make it look a little bit more detailed, just like a smidge. I mean, if you want to put even more effort in, yeah, that will take a little bit more time, like Max Trax has. But even to just a little bit of a tidy up would have been nice. I mean, I do know that there is the merge route that is out there, as we've just been discussing. I would imagine that the merge route possibly, goes a little bit more into detail with that. I would hope. I don't want to say things that aren't true, but I would hope that it does go into a little bit more detail. And I know that there are sort of like route improvement things you can get as well, like there's certain people that have improved routes and bits. And I mean, we've used some of them in the past. Um, that London to Bedford one, that's an Armstrong Powerhouse one. I've got that installed. So stuff like that that is out there. So one thing that I am curious about is, yes, so we go down here and then it just all splits off. I was just curious as to what happened at that point. I think something that was a shame that was missed out on this was sort of linking it to Piccadilly, because I have so many fond childhood memories of catching the Transpennine through to Piccadilly, and having that was a little bit disappointing. Yes, they still have a fair few through Victoria and that lot, but sort of missing that out a little bit, and focusing a little bit more on this. I mean, I say that, because I could be entirely wrong because it's me. Oh, don't tell me because it's frozen that you can't. I'm about to say I don't believe that for 1 second. Oh, come on, work. we're having technical difficulties. Yeah, you've sort of got Victoria there, but you don't have the likes of Piccadilly, which I do think is such an oversight. I feel like just having that would be nice. But again, I would imagine in the merger that is very much has to be there. So I don't know why we're going this slowly all of a sudden, because we do actually like have times to achieve. And for some reason that idea has just left my mind, which is not ideal because we were doing really well up to this point. This means we're going to have to go into this station a little bit quicker than I intended. As long as we are stopped within the next 13 seconds, 10 seconds, 9, 8, 7. Oh my gosh, this is tight. Okay. 6, 4, 3, 2. Come on, open the doors. There we go. Oh my gosh. 48 and 59 seconds. Please give me the tick for that, please. If I don't get the tick for that, I'm going to be seriously sad. I will be genuinely gutted if I don't get the tick for that. Because that involves hard work. That very much involves hard work. So I do seriously want the tick for that. I'm gonna have loads of screenshots to choose from this run. Like, absolutely tons. It's just, I just love it when the scenarios are set up so the sun's in the right position. It just makes such a difference. Yes, we got the tick! We were in the threshold within a second. If I'd have opened the doors a second later, we wouldn't have got that. We'd have had our first cross of the video, which I do think would have been rather soul destroying, I'm going to be honest, and I've just missed quite a nice photo spot there, but hey ho, we live and we move. And now we've got 6 miles to Victoria with an arrival time apparently of 16:59. And we're not actually due in until 17:05. So we are doing quite well, which is pleasant, very pleasant. So 9ers will probably get delayed going in. I mean, I don't want to spoil it too much, but we had a look on that map view that didn't want to work properly for some reason. When we had a look at that, it did look like there's a couple of AI bits, AI trains stable waiting to leave. So it wouldn't particularly surprise me in the slightest if the reason that we're doing at 17:05 is because we have to sit somewhere for these units to leave. Just like it is in real life. So I have been on both of these 150s in real life loads, especially 220. 220, funnily enough, is a 150 set which I refer to as one of my stalker units, and I don't have many of them, but I don't go on that many trains compared to most. However, I do refer to it as the stalker unit because whenever I go for the train and it's 150, always ends up being like 150 220, or there's another one as well. Well, it's like 220's like the main one, but I'm trying to think what's the other one. There's another one as well. It always ends up being either of them. Usually this one, to be fair, because I was going to see a couple of friends and one of their families a couple of weeks ago. And it ended up being 150 220, and I literally said as we were going down, I was like, that can't be 150 220. There's no way on earth that it is going to be 150 220. Like, that is the one I always get. And I walked down the stairs and it was literally that train, and I was like, you are having a laugh, right? It was just absolutely unbelievable. So we're doing just under 4 miles, so we're under 4 miles away. It's been a while since I've been at Manchester in real life. The last time I went, I was there for some overnight work. I was there till like 3 in the morning, doing an overnight job for somewhere I work. And I was there for an overnight job, so that was fun. That was fun. So I genuinely have not been there for pleasure-related activities like bus spotting, shopping, pub visiting, for quite a while. I think it is somewhere I do need to revisit very soon because, as I say, just haven't been in ages. I kept saying I was going to go and get certain vehicle types on the B network, and I still haven't been over. Still haven't been there. Like, I still want to go on an E100 EB because they look just like a Blackstone Primo. They're like a modern electric version of a Blackstone Primo, that just amuses me. That we've sort of gone back to the Primo era and that sort of thing. Now I was pressing for a more intense break then, but it didn't want to give me one. 231, bam, sorted. Still managed to break in time, which is always a positive. This is not a bend you want to go around at about 50. Very much the impression I've got here. That even 30 itself is pushing it. There we go, so a little bit of 50, then into the 40, and then we should start slowing down because it'll be about a mile at that point till the station. Which is on an incredibly steep downhill gradient. Oh my goodness me. This is definitely adding some challenge to all of this. Well, by the looks of it, we're just going into the station at 40, which I wasn't entirely expecting. Hey, there we go, another pacer. We'll have a look and see where that's going. Has it got a blind on? Yes, it does. That is going to Blackburn, 142030, and behind it is a 150. The usual concoction that you tended to find in Manchester back in the day was a sort of 150/1 combination. That tended to be the regular thing. So that's us sorted into platform number 3. Oh, and another 150/1. Wonder what that's coupled to. Another 150/1. I mean, I had the choice recently. A few days ago, I was in Liverpool, out of all places. Nice and random for me, I will say. And I was in Liverpool, and I had the pleasure of choosing between 150, 105, I want to say, 106, and a 156. I very obviously chose the 150. After everything I have said in this video, I do feel it would have been slightly ironic if I wouldn't have chosen the 150. And it proved to be an incredibly tuneful one. Whenever the opportunity provides itself, I do always go on those 150/1s, the Manchester ones, because there's so many of them. and they are so difficult to get. So, but anyway, with that said and done, we've come to the end of our run. And didn't mean for that to rhyme, but hey ho. The 150 will now carry on to Southport without us. So that was a really nice run from Huddersfield to Manchester. A nice 50-minute trip. Lovely Class 150. The Armstrong Powerhouse 150 is absolutely beautiful. I highly, highly recommend it. You don't need the DTG one for it to work either, so you can just purchase this and go, which is really nice. If you have enjoyed this video, please do click that like button, because that way more people can find the video and enjoy it like you have. And if you haven't already, then do be sure to subscribe to the channel simulation section for more content like this from Train Simulator and OMSI 2. I'm just going to briefly pause us because for some reason this is a Metro information board. We're in Manchester. This should be a Greater Manchester PT. Why is it a Metro West Yorkshire board? That's annoying me. Anybody that's not from the north, you won't get that. People that are from the north, that will have annoyed you as much as it has annoyed me. But anyway, I'm going to pan it out of camera because that's bugging me. But once again, thank you all for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this one, and I will see you all in the next video I make. Bye for now. Bye.